Hey, welcome to episode 7. I just wanted to talk to you today about something that's really important. I know for the last few weeks I've talked about music and even did an episode on some real legends who'd passed away. Well, you know what? I'm going to switch gears this week and I'm going to cover some news because it's really important. And I believe it's hit most all of you, if not directly, indirectly, you know someone that this has happened to. So let's get started. All right, there's a new trend going around in our community, and it's not just here, but it's all over the country. And I know that it's probably affected most of you because it's affected our family at least 3 or maybe 4 times this, in the recent history. Our mailbox has been broken into. And I know I've seen some people posting on media. I even saw a news report a couple of weeks ago about a postal worker being attacked, trying to steal his keys. The epidemic of postal robbery, I guess you would say it, is just out of control. It's to the point now that the U.S. mail, according to my sources, can't even keep up with it. I know when it first happened to me and my family, I called the police. The boxes were wide open and it was obviously broken into. So I did what any good citizen should probably do, call the police, report it. And when I called, they told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's a federal offense. You'll have to call the federal marshals." I thought, well, okay, well, how do I get hold of them? And they gave me the phone number. So I called the federal marshals. After several attempts to actually get someone, I got a hold of a human being and said, "My mailbox has been broken into. I've been giving you this phone number from our local police department." And they said, "Oh, okay, great. Give me your address and stuff." And I thought, oh, good, they're going to do something. After I gave them my information, they said, "Okay, I'll let the postmaster know and they'll get maintenance out there just as soon as they possibly can." And I said, "Maintenance?" And they said, "Well, yeah, they'll fix the box." And I said, "Well, what about the theft?" And they said, "Oh, well, that's a local jurisdiction." And I said, "Well, they told me it was a federal jurisdiction." And they said, "Well, that's nothing that we're going to go after, but we'll get the box fixed for you right away, sir. Thank you very much." And I thought to myself, they're not going to do anything. And I thought, well, what can I do? I'm just a knucklehead on the street. I'm nobody special. And we went to the post office and picked up our mail for a couple of weeks, and then they fixed the box, and we considered getting a post office box, and we're automatically trying to figure out, well, how can we not be robbed again? And time passes and we're like, well, it seems like everything's okay. And then bang, it happens again. Box is broken into. I don't even bother to call the police this time because I know they're not going to do anything about it. And I'm beginning to hear that it's happening more and more. And so we just automatically go down to the post office. And this time the line is quite long. And everybody in my neighborhood, I run into a few neighbors. And, what a pain. Well, now it's happened again. And this time, we've got notices on our boxes. And then someone else posts these basically protest stickers. We need to demand more of our leaders, or whatever you want to call it. And then I talked to a few people that I know at the post office, and they tell me that this isn't just a local problem, that it's really gotten out of hand. To the point that they can't keep up with the mail delivery problems because their mail deliverers don't go out to deliver the mail because the boxes are broken into. And so they've got a massive sorting issue that's backing up because people don't come to the post office every day to get their mail, so it piles up. And on top of that, boxes continue to be broken into. So I asked my local postmaster, how many boxes have been broken into in just this post office? And he said, oh man, just over the weekend, 30. And that sounds like 30 boxes. Wow, that's not so bad. But then look at the count on my boxes. And this is pretty typical of how many boxes. There's 12 boxes on one box. So multiply 12 times 30. And that's just in this area code. It's so bad that everyone's complaining it takes so long to get their box fixed. Why is that? Well, again, according to my sources, it's happening so often that they're having trouble keeping up with parts. They're beginning to just saw the boxes right off the posts and take the whole thing. And they can't get boxes. They can't get locks for boxes. They're having trouble keeping up with those kinds of things. And it's just incredible. And I don't know about you, but it's quite frustrating. And again, my tax money goes into keeping up that post office. I know they say it's in the postage, but I'm sorry. I keep up with what's going on a little bit, and there's quite a bit of my tax money goes into keeping USPS operational, because they do not make money. They do not cover their expenses. They're at a loss every single year. And it's just getting harder and harder. One of the main reasons, according to my sources once again, is that it was a federal offense punishable by up to 10 years in jail for violating and interfering with the mail, with doing anything to even look in somebody's mailbox. It was a pretty serious felony. And in a lot of jurisdictions, it's been reclassified as a federal misdemeanor. So what does that mean? It means at most they're going to get 5 years in jail if they're caught. It used to be a minimum of 5 years in jail, up to 15. Now it's 5. So the incentive is for criminals anyway. Stop and think about the risk assessment. If you were going to do a job, you'd stop and think, what's the payoff versus the risk? Well, the risk is they're not going to look for you. The risk is even if you do get caught, the best you're going to do is 5 years, which in today's circles means you're going to get 2.5 years and then, closer to probably 18 months in prison if you get caught. And the payoff is all of these bonus checks, all of these financial things going through the mail these days, debit cards and credit cards and just all kinds of things going through the mail that you don't even really ask for. Identity theft. Just get a hold of some bills, get a hold of a check of some kind. And the lucrative amount of access is incredible. All it takes is for 1 or 2 boxes to have a card in it. Max $5,000 up on a card and throw it away. Who cares? You don't need it. Just 2 or 3 days, you've made some money. So it's lucrative. And the payoff is high. And the incentive to get caught is low. So I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think law enforcement doesn't see it as a big deal because it's just about you and me, the everyday guy. Everyday girl. We're not anybody special. But stop and think about it. I'm going to be conservative because I don't know for sure. But just say maybe 10. There's like 5 different places in Bakersfield, maybe 6. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if you know how many post offices and area codes cover. Fill me in on that. But I'm just going to say, let's say 5. Let's just say there's 5 different places right now that, okay, don't have 30 boxes, but let's say 10 boxes. So 5 times 10 is 50, with 12 boxes that are being broken into every week. And it's not going away. So what can we do about it? Well, we can complain. I can make a video about it and tell people about it. You can share this video with your friends so they know that it isn't some little thing. The news doesn't seem to report about it, but quite frankly, I don't pay too much attention to the local news because I get about 7 minutes of local news and then it's all national news about blah, 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 blah. Who cares? And so we don't get a lot of local news, what's happening with our community. So I'm telling you, there is some things we can do. And when we get back, we'll get right to them. Playing music is a big part of my life, and making these videos is just fun and exciting, and it gives me another creative outlet. Please like and subscribe to my channel as I do music and art. My daughter's really into musical theater, so I'm hoping to add some musical theater. So stay tuned and keep coming back to my channel. It's gonna be worth it, I swear. And look back at some of the other stuff and see if there's something you like there. And tell your friends. Well, one of the things that we can do is, number one, go to city council meetings if you're the kind of person that goes to city council, and bring it up to the city council. I know that it's a federal deal, but we have to start where we're at. City council meetings, county supervisor meetings, and let them know that you're sick and tired of your mailboxes being ravaged by criminals, that you want the district attorney to go after these people, even if it is those little 18-month sentences. Do something, chase after them. Don't pass over, these kinds of crimes. I've heard tell things called broken windows. If you don't fix the broken windows, then bigger crimes start to happen. And quite frankly, home invasions, everything's on the rise. It's our civic duty and our responsibility to look after our neighbors. And how do we do that? Well, we pay our taxes. We insist on policing. We participate in local government. We don't just passively let it go. We give up our civic duties. Participate on jury duty. I know that sounds like, oh my God, give me a break. Well, you know what? We're one of the only countries on the planet where we get to be judged by our peers. And if we don't show up, then we don't have peers showing up. We don't have participation. And it's very important. We've given up so much. It's time to take it back. And how do we do that? We do our duty and we step up. The other thing we can do is, it's not something that I feel real confident in, but there are some things that we can try, like getting our bills sent through email and stop getting paper through the mail. Try everything you can to eliminate any kind of stuff coming through the mail. Make it impossible for thieves to get anything but useless paper. Insure yourself against identity theft through some of these identity theft programs. Keep an eye out on your neighbor. If you've got an elderly neighbor or a neighbor who single mom or even just a mom home, keep an eye out. You see somebody weird, walk up, knock on the door, say something, be friendly with your neighbor. If they get irritated, just let them know, hey, I just saw something odd and thought I would be Mrs. Kravitz for all you old folks who remember Bewitched. Just be nosy a little bit. It's okay. The Lord asks us to love our neighbor. And who is our neighbor? Everyone around us. So be in prayer. Pray for your neighbors. Pray for them thieves, that they get caught, and that through that harshness They change. Something happens. Do something different. We can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Can't expect the police to, they're dealing with armed robberies and home invasions. And I can see their point about somebody's mailbox got broken into. Nobody drew a gun and tried to kill somebody. We were kind of prioritized here. They're short-handed. Being a police officer isn't very popular today, so there aren't a lot of people jumping into the job. So we as a community have to do our part. We don't take things into our own hands. We don't stalk our mailboxes and then jump the guy and make a citizen's arrest. That leads to tyranny. And the last thing I want to do is condone tyranny, but we can do some things. Try to stop getting mail in your mailbox. Stop participating in any kind of a thing that's going to draw more things coming to your mail. Ask them to stop delivering. Get a post office box. Do something. Try anything. I mean, there's no right answer and there's no wrong answer. Just let's try to do something different, because this has got to stop, and it's not going to stop until the thieves have no reason to continue to do it anymore. I'll say this and then I'll shut up. When I was younger, I'm going to be candid here. It was in the 70s, and drug laws were completely different than they are today. If you got caught with a joint, you were going to do 5 years in prison. It's no joke. If you got caught with more than a joint, a bag of weed or a big bag of weed, you're going to do 15 years. They didn't play. It was no give you a ticket and go home. It was really serious. And so some of these people would look for young folks, teenagers like me, to say, hey, if you'll take the risk, there's a great reward for you. Because as a young person, they're going to give you a little slap on the hand. Go to juvenile hall for a couple of weeks in probation, and you can help things move along. They found a way to get around it until they decriminalize marijuana, just like they're decriminalizing mail fraud, mail theft, and then everybody started doing it. And everybody's breaking into mailboxes and getting things stolen all over the country. It isn't just Bakersfield. So, what do? In my case, I got sober. I quit using dope. I quit drinking. I quit giving the criminals an opportunity, and at least in my life. When there's no money in it, they're going to go do something else. So let's try doing something like that. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about this week. I know it's different, it's weird, but it hits home with most of you folks. So let me know in the comments. I like to keep up on these kinds of things and be a part of the community to make our place a better place to live. I want people coming to Bakersfield, wanting to stay in Bakersfield because it's an awesome, wonderful place to live. The weather around here is just absolutely gorgeous. It's what keeps me here. Lawlessness makes me want to leave, and I know a lot of people have. So let's try to make it better. Keep coming back. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. That subscription helps me continue to keep doing these things. Go to the website where I've got my music for sale and buy my music. Help keep this thing going for me. That's how I make money. So, just do everything you can to help me keep this thing going, and I'll keep bringing you really good content. I swear, I promise, I'll do everything I can. So keep coming back.